Do you play these amazing playlists but don't understand what makes them feel great, yet others horrible? We're going to talk about some techniques and aim fields I haven't heard anyone else talk about. Playlists are the sole way you can customize your own experience, so we want to get really good at it and make sure we're not playing anything that's hindering us.
That makes a lot of sense.
We achieve this through angles. Traditionally, a playlist is created and the person simply picks scenarios that feel good for them. The problem is that this creates an over or under saturation in the minuscule fields. And those minuscule fields are what's going to hold up your aim in the long run. That's because your aim is meant to adapt to new situations. When you smoothly track someone in Apex, it's not your smoothness. It's a combination of all your aim training, static, and much more to get you that kill. Starting from now on, all my new playlists break down each individual fields into different areas, much as I've done with my benchmarks. This is a key to creating angles and why a lot of you have been loving my playlists.
Do you want this level 4 shotgun? Right there on the floor,
How can we do this? Don't just add a bunch of scenarios. You want to be looking at what the scenario is trying to give you. Let's take target switching. Include a scenario where everything is directly in front of you. Include speed target switching, 360 target switching, evasive. Those are 4 scenarios already. But don't just blindly add these scenarios. It's much more beneficial to find out what we need by taking a look at our whips. Now I want you to look at this clip. I flicked to the first guy well, but the second one is what we want to pay attention to. Notice how the other guy was outside of my field of view. Notice how I flick but missed to adjust. I started adding some 360 target switching and my aim in-game felt a lot cleaner. That's why I want you to understand when I say target switching or anything else, I don't just mean one type. Different people always require different things. For those interested, I've broken down each individual field and what they're good for. Starting it off with reactive strafes. These should be used to counter AD spam or lack of reactivity. This is often a direct replica of what we see in game. Spam these if you play Apex. Speed reactive is very difficult movements that are used to force ourselves to react to crazy changes in movements. Here we're not learning a pattern like we are in reactive strafes, but purely relying on reacting. Perfect for people who react slowly and leave their crosshair in the dust as the enemy changes direction. Relevant playlists down below and in the Discord. When we talk about micro adjustments in tracking, there's 2 fields: precision tracking and smooth reactive. Precision is used if you struggle with precise micro adjustments during tracking. In Overwatch, where the characters are rather small, you often need to do these precise movements. Perhaps you're struggling overall with your tracking or you're a Valorant player, these might just be your answer. Easier precision is also used to counter shaky aim and can be put in between very intense reactive scenarios. Moving on to smooth reactive, which is used if you struggle tracking after you react. You react well to switches in movements, but really you can't keep your crosshair on them after that. Smooth strafes is a subcategory of that smooth reactive, except we're focusing less on micro adjustments and more on AD spam. Oh, and if you're wondering, did someone make these all into a playlist? Yes, it's how I made and analyzed my benchmarks, so be sure to check them out after this video. Movement is crucial when practicing because you do it in all games. Don't think it's only for Apex or something like that. This greatly builds your ability to move your mouse together with your crosshair to counter enemies' movement. The technique I personally use is by moving in extremely long strafes. You hold A or D and never let go. Once the target dies or you hit a wall, you switch directions. Moving on to static. Information is where the bot is hidden to you, forcing you or the bot to peek you. This practices both your reflexes and in-game realism, as you don't always have the information of where your enemies are. Reflexes are great for any game, but Valorant and Siege greatly benefit from this. If you need to make quick adjustments or someone is just popping up on your screen or need to flick very fast, this is a crucial area. Pressure static is a very unique field here. Do you ever notice yourself struggling during clutches or even shake during flicks? This solves as an in-between of speed and accuracy and is recommended for all games. Wide wall static is great and should be used to work on micro adjustments because you're basically flicking and doing that little bit of adjusting due to the length between targets. Recommended here is my 4B click method, which you take your finger off mouse 1, confirm you're on target, then put your finger back down and click. Cluster static is much more for speed. Regardless of the size of the bot, we want to be working on being snappy. This is great for people who generally struggle with static as a whole because it offers much more bots, thus much more practice. Speed target switching are very large bots that are often in front of you or in a 360 space. 360 can be used to practice combination of speed and micro adjustments as you're flicking and having to readjust quickly. While Vox TS style of scenarios where everything is in front of you is just raw speed. This is great for target switch heavy games or even something like Valorant if you're lacking speed in your flicks. Evasive target switching is when you flick to a target but struggle adjusting after your flick. You basically leave your crosshair hanging out there and don't adjust. Commonly thought of as micro adjustments, but this is in fact just a combination of bad static and bad reactive. Pokeball should mainly be used in the smooth pathing format, which is drawing clean lines from target to target, focusing on not over or under flicking. And of course, don't forget to hold down the mouse one. This is heavily recommended for all games, is by far the most underutilized scenarios we have, focusing on extra small balls because they force that precision. Dynamic, like target switching, has two parts, where everything is in front of you or evasive. Evasive is more of that micro adjustment or mouse control strengthener, but when everything is in front of you, you're basically just doing raw flicking as the target's moving. This is a subcategory that sort of blends in with reflexes and information. Generally, if you break down my playlist into techniques, this is how I built them, and often why a lot of scenarios are involved. Try and notice in my FAR playlist how, for example, I clump together 360 style of scenarios after I have them in a 180 form of target switch. Please tell me, did you learn something from this? Should I keep doing these more informative videos, or was this too much? Please let me know, and as always, I appreciate you being a part of this community.